More than half of Americans say they would need at least $100,000 a year to be financially comfortable.
The benchmark of a six-figure salary used to be the gold standard income. It represented the tipping point of finally earning a disposable income and building a savings, spending based on your wants, not just your needs.
The American dream is what makes a middle-class lifestyle. You're able to pay your bills. You're able to put food on the table, put a roof over your family's head, and you have some additional savings.
Now, people making well over six figures are still living paycheck to paycheck. What used to symbolize financial freedom is now keeping people stressed about making ends meet.
26% say they would need more. A salary in the range of $100,000 to $149,000 per year would make them feel financially comfortable.
Do y'all agree with this? Do y'all agree? That is the question that y'all are being posed. Y'all know at this point I asked, I don't even know how many questions per video, but this is the first question. Do you need between $100,000 and $150,000 a year to feel comfortable? This is not necessarily to be thriving. This is not to feel successful. We already did a video about how people feel about, financial success, whatever that means. There is no real objective meaning or definition to financial success. It's just the number that people say if you just ask them outright. How much money do you need to feel successful? And the various, age demographics within the United States gave their numbers. Now, I don't remember all of them, but I do remember the main two that we discussed in the video, which was that Gen Z said that they needed $500,000, closer to $600,000. And the average between all of the living generations was about $270,000. So we're looking at the average American saying they need $100,000 to $150,000 a year just to feel comfortable, and they need $270,000 a year to feel financially successful or to feel like they're thriving. Do y'all believe that that is valid? I will tell y'all personally, I believe if you're making $100,000 a year as a single person, not provided for a family, as a single person, if you're making $100,000 a year and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you got some serious soul searching you need to be doing, and you need to sit down with a financial expert, go through all of your spending habits, and create a budget for yourself. See, as we're starting to have, these conversations online, you see this a lot in like relationship spaces on relationship podcasts, where, women will be asked like how much they think the average man makes, and they'll say, $500,000. They'll even say sometimes, $100,000, $200,000. I think social media is starting to make a lot of us out of touch with the reality, which is that the average American is making somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000 a year, and the average combined household income is somewhere right around $80,000. In a couple of videos past, I quoted that as being just under $60,000. That number was a couple of years old. These are the more updated numbers. Like I said, I think social media and being able to see everybody else's highlight reel, not necessarily their day-to-day, but just the highlights of their life that they choose to present, I think that's gotten us slightly out of touch and raised our standards to a height where they don't necessarily need to be at, because let social media tell the story. Everybody rich, everybody balling, everybody going on trips, everybody got the latest shoes, everybody got the latest iPhone, everybody got the nicest car. Not knowing, what they're not telling you is that the average American is carrying about $60,000 worth of debt total. So everything is not always as it seems, and you can't just take everything at face value and believe it. But I'm gonna let the video rock out a little bit more. Let's see if there's any more value in here we can extract.
I think unfortunately what has happened is that wages haven't kept up with the cost of living by and large for the last 50 years or so. And so it becomes increasingly hard for many families to be able to attain that sort of middle-class lifestyle, that American dream.
How much?
I did say that I don't believe $100,000 can provide for a family. It really depends on what your definition of providing for a family looks like. For me, it's not just providing, it's thriving. When I have those conversations in my personal life about providing for a family, I don't have it from the perspective of I just want to make sure everybody has the bare minimum, because nobody wants, you know, their wife and children just have the bare minimum. You want you want to be able to put your family in a good position to where, you know, you can enjoy the finer things in life, to where, you know, you can put your kids in the best schools, to where you can set them up for success. We're also starting to see a lot more ladies online having conversations about being provided for, about not necessarily, you know, the narrative is shifting away from the whole boss chick, I don't need no man type of thing. And now a lot of ladies are starting to have a conversation about, what is a man going to do for me? You know, what kind of money are you making? I'm not trying to have to be going out working. Unfortunately, ladies, the numbers and the math don't really support that, and don't for the average American, for the average person, that is not really feasible. You need a combined income. And personally, I don't really think it's too much wrong with that, but y'all let me know in the comments if I'm tripping.
You need to feel financially secure varies so much depending on not only your geographical location, but of course your lifestyle. It used to be that a 6-figure salary was like the gold standard, but nowadays that may not be enough to make ends meet in certain parts of the country, especially like New York or San Francisco, where it costs so much more just to cover your daily expenses.
Here's why a $100,000 household income no longer buys the American dream.
And y'all, it is so sad. It's really sad to see that we're having this conversation, because, and it's crazy to see how fast the narrative shifted around the $100,000 a year conversation. Because all throughout high school for me, which I was in high school from 2015 to 2019, I graduated in 2019, and that's also the year that I started college. 6 figures a year was the number to hit. That's where you wanted to be. That's what my parents told me was the gold standard. And now it's crazy to see from the time that I graduated high school to now, where I'm getting ready to be 2 years out of college, the narrative has shifted so much. There's people online saying that, you know, $100,000 a year is essentially poor. Like, and yeah, especially in, you know, your California and your New York, it's true. $100,000 a year is really not that much money, and it's just crazy to see. It's just crazy for me to sit back and reflect on, you know, the conversations that we were having 10 years ago versus the conversations that we're having now. It just puts into perspective how, you know, the cost of living and inflation have rose so exponentially.
Go Banking Rates analyzed how much a family of 2 adults and 2 children would need in each state to own a home, a car, and a pet, as well as have an additional 20% of their income for savings and 30% for discretionary spending.
The core of what the American dream means is some amount of economic security, that you feel like you can get by and do a bit better, maybe do better than.
Is that really what the American dream is? I say this in a lot of videos, but I think we need to start having a conversation about redefining exactly what the American dream means. Because to me, when you say American dream, in my mind, you know, I go to owning your house, owning a car, you know, your 2.5 kids, husband and wife, you know, maybe a dog, white picket fence. The question is that still realistic? Is that still a realistic expectation for the average American? Because although we have conversations and where I'm telling you guys that I will never encourage anybody to just live in a victim mentality, we do also have to call it how we see it and acknowledge that the cost of living is kind of starting to kill out the middle class.
Your parents, maybe be able to afford a house, certainly be able to save for your children's future.
All 50 states require more than a $100,000 annual income, with 38 states needing more than $140,000. The most affordable states, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Kentucky, need between $109,000 and $117,000.
Would y'all move to any of these 3 states where the cost of living is lower? Now, it really depends on who you are. It depends on what you're looking for. It depends on the amount of entertainment that, you know, just a whole bunch of different factors. But let me know, would y'all be willing to move to an area like these with a lower cost of living if your job allowed for it?
Median income for a household of 4 people in each of those states in 2022 was between $71,000 and $87,000. Hawaii, California, and Massachusetts are the most expensive. Each requires an annual income of more than $240,000. The median income for a family of 4 in those 3 states in 2022 fell at least $94,000 short of what's required for the American dream. A different analysis from EPI found that in about 80% of the country, a family of 4 can afford their basic needs on less than $100,000 per year.
Right.
Those include things such as housing, food, transportation, healthcare, childcare, taxes, and a few other basic necessities.
It doesn't take into account anything extra.
Well, yeah, the numbers are starting to get a little crazy. I'm going to go ahead and cut it right there. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments below. Like I said, the question is $100,000 enough? Or is it poor now in 2024 going into 2025? Drop y'all's thoughts in the comment section down below. Y'all know I do my best to respond to every single comment dropped on the channel because I do genuinely want to have a real conversation with you guys about these topics.